Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of the Lawn Care CEO podcast. My name is Dan Ralphs, head coach here at the Lawn Care CEO, and I'm joined by a very special guest. And I don't know how to do this introduction justice. I've been doing some research on this guest, and there's a lot to say. We may have our own Captain America on the show today. It's getting there, right? Like, it's not Chris Hemsworth, I'll tell you that, right? But it's a pretty, I feel very honored to be in the presence of our guest, and that's actually a sincere compliment. So, here at Lawn Care CEO, we've been growing, and we are grateful to our tens of listeners who support us. A lot of them are clients. We love you guys, and we've been growing. And when you grow, you get to add people to your team. And one of the things that's probably the biggest challenge, and you guys don't really care about this, but just behind the scenes, is like one of the biggest challenges for us as we grow a lawn care coaching business is like, how do you find other talented coaches? It's like a legit, like, because one of our core values is we win through excellence. Like, we just don't do anything okay. We want to do it the very, very best way possible. And especially when it comes to coaching, it's like, hey, we're putting companies' lives in this person's hands. Like, how do we do it? And I'd known Miranda, who we'd introduced as a coach earlier, and she was like somebody I'd known for years and I felt very confident in. But the question was, could we like go out into the market and find somebody? And today I get to introduce you to one of our new coaches. Let me give you a little bit of his like LinkedIn background here. And if you can go search this up. You can look up Sam Gustin, and you can go find his LinkedIn, and you will be blown away. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to a graduate of the Sorrell College of Business, Troy University, former U.S. Staff Sergeant of the United States Military in the Army. Also, I could read through his list of LinkedIn skills, including time management, relationship building, and presentation skills. I could also read through his list of honors and awards not highlighted by the Honor Society at Swan Valley High School. No, not honored, not A-listed by the Army Commendation Medals, 4-time commendation winner from the U.S. Army, or my favorite of all of them, 2017 Missile Defender of the Year, as nominated by the United States Army. This is like, like I said, like he does a little bit of everything. There are things he does that I'm not allowed to tell you because they're too embarrassing. But more importantly, he also is I don't know if it's more important than 2017 Missile Defender of the Year. Like, that's the coolest. I would literally, if I had that, I would wear a t-shirt always that said I was the 2017 U.S. Army.
Have the award back there.
Missile Defender of the Year. That is, I don't even know what that means, but it's so cool. Yeah. Current owner and chairman of the board, we'll call it, of Troops Mowing out of Austin, Texas. And now, for some unknown reason, also one of our head coaches here at the Lawn Care CEO, Sam Gustin. Ladies and gentlemen, insert applause here. We want to insert.
That's right.
I don't think I have to. Yeah. Welcome, Sam.
Yeah. Thank you. Chris Hemsworth, if he made every wrong dietary move ever.
What are you talking about? I know you're running a marathon like in 3 weeks.
It sounds more impressive than what, if I took my shirt off, you're saying that guy has never ran in his life. Yeah, I appreciate all the other nice words.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those of you on radio, Sam is now taking off his shirt. No, I'm kidding.
And
do you remember
cuts off?
Yeah. Remember the episode of, it was The Office, where Dwight Schrute is recording everything in the meeting to share back later. And Jim's like, keep your clothes on, Dwight, right? It's like, well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited about this. We honestly, Sam just like waltzed into our lives, and we're so, it's such a cool thing to meet someone like Sam. And so I'm excited for you to get to know him on this podcast. We're going to talk a lot about today about you get to know Sam's story a little bit, and get to know his story as a CEO and owner of Troops Mowing. But then in addition, we're going to talk about, what he's learned over the years of being a staff sergeant, a senior salesperson, customer sales rep at Velocity Transport, like big, big jobs along the way. But more important, all through the military and in his life as a leader of a business of a mowing company.
Sure.
So Sam, to kick us off, maybe just give us a little bit of background. Tell us a little bit of the story. I gave the highlights, but tell us a little bit more about your story.
It's all downhill from there, but
downhill from 2017 Missile Defender of the Year.
Yeah. I was born in Saginaw, Michigan. We call it the Sag Nasty. Represent
Sag Nasty.
Sag Nasty. Born in Saginaw, Michigan, and I was a real piece of work. I was the class clown. Never paid attention in school, and my biggest love of my youth was football. And so I got an opportunity to go play college football at a tinier school in Michigan. First year, snapped my ankle, and I was like, I'm not going pro anyway, so let's figure something else out. And I quickly found myself homeless. And so for not love of country, but just needing to pay my bills, I joined the United States Army. And that was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. And
there was a moment where you're like, I don't have a house. I don't have any job, any prospects. I'm a washed up college football player who probably didn't spend a lot of time in doing my schoolwork well.
Zero time, correct.
And so that Army recruiting office started to look really appealing.
Yeah, I was in such need for money that I just went right to the recruiters. I walked into the Marine office. I said, hey, I want to be a Marine.
Really?
Just because I was the first office to the right. Whatever, it could have been Space Force to the right, and I would have been in Space Force. I just need money. So
that's not a real thing. Space Force.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
They said, that's cool. We just need to do 3 pull-ups and we'll start the paperwork. And I was like, there's no shot. I'm getting 1 pull-up. And so after struggling to get up on the bar, they're like, you can just go to the next office. I was like, yeah. So I go to the next office, and it was the Army.
The Marines were like, you can't do 3 pull-ups. You can't be a Marine.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Maybe it was just that dude on staff. He was bored and saw chubby little kid. So,
he's looking at this guy. He's like, you look homeless. Why did you go to the Army?
Bored. I need entertainment. Let's see you can do a pull-up.
Yeah.
So I went to the Army's office. I said, I want to be in the Army. They're like, sweet. And I was like, do I have to do any pull-ups? And they're like, no pull-ups here. I said, cool. So I take my ASVAB. I do all the things. And I was like, I just need a job that gets me out of here tomorrow. And the very first job, it was called the 35 Mike. And it was a human intelligence collector. And so to this day, I don't really know what that entails, but I imagine pulling teeth. Tell me what you know. So that would have been cool. But you had to take some test. It was like a 4-hour test in a made-up language. And you only had 1 hour to study. It's like wingdings. Like you only had 1 hour to study some made-up language. And I'm a college dropout. So I was like, you might as well, I'm better off doing the pull-ups. And and so I was like, is there anything else that I can do that doesn't have this?
Sam, I built you up so much, and all I'm hearing so far is I failed at the pull-ups. I wasn't smart enough to get into the pull teeth thing.
Yeah.
And I just I see you sliding down the military rungs until it's like, hey, there's some toilets to clean out,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I told you it's all downhill from here. I'm a man of my word. No, but they said, do you want to shoot down missiles? And I said, as long as I don't have to take that test or do pull-ups. And they're like, sweet. So that's what I did. And the best decision of my life. Now, I wasn't a believer at the time, but I believe that God had his hand in that whole decision. The people I met, the person I became, I couldn't put a price on that. And so that's the best decision I've made. And throughout that journey, I learned a lot of things. I went from being a private to a staff sergeant in 5 years. I learned what I was capable of if I applied myself, which I
Mm.
was lacking. Whether that confidence or just the know-how, the first 20 years of my life, I realized that I had potential. Which now my internal purpose is to ignite potential in others because
There's something
my
powerful about, like, I'm just sitting here thinking about your story, and then my experience, like coaching all these entrepreneurs, being an entrepreneur. I think there's something healthy, particularly for a man, to be in an environment with some risk. I think it's
yeah
something good for the soul of, and maybe it's true for women. I just know for me, but there's something good about that for your soul. And it has, I always tell entrepreneurs, it's like, if you show up to entrepreneurship and you stay in it for a long period of time, it's going to refine you into something kind of cool.
100%.
And I think that's true probably in the military. That's probably one of the few other environments where that's true. It's like, you stick around in the military long enough, you're going to be refined into something kind of cool if you progress and work hard. And
Yeah, I agree. But all the opposite can be true because I've seen a lot of people get
mm,
broken by the military.
mm.
I think it just comes down to
Yeah,
posture.
entrepreneurship too. Like, people get broken by entrepreneurship for sure.
Yeah. So I
Mm,
think it's how bad do you want it? How serious are you? Um, how long can you sit in bad situations without quitting? And I think that's where the refinement, comes in.
mm,
Um, but throughout that process, met a lot of cool people, and I ended up getting out of the military, um, and immediately got into sales because I knew nothing else. And I remember a story when I was younger. I don't know why I needed money, but for some reason, I'm like, I'm going to go knock on doors and make money. I was probably 12. I don't
yeah.
know. But I took a carton of eggs and I walked to each of my neighbors' houses. And I said, if you give me $5, I'll crack an egg over my head, make you laugh. Trust me, it's a good investment. Um, one of my
This
neighbors,
is the greatest business of all time. It is. I've literally, in my however many years, 20 years of listening to entrepreneurs tell their stories, this may be the best one of all time. The best marketing idea and the most 12-year-old boy marketing idea of all time. He's like, I got it. Here's people like getting an egg smashed on their head, right? Like, people like watching that. Hey, I can
yeah,
make some money here.
it
Did it
was on a
work?
good trajectory. And then price of eggs, it's a whole thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My cogs were too high at some point.
Your cost of goods got too high on the egg
Right.
smashing business.
But what happened is I found one of my neighbors. She would pay me $5 to not crack an egg over my head, just for the love of eggs, I guess. And I leaned into that one hard. I
She's
went
like,
every day.
how desperate? How desperate is this kid if he's cracking an egg over his head? Let's just give him $5.
Well, I found out that she must have been like an animal lover. Like she would have cried if I cracked an egg over my head. And so I leaned into that, and I went every day threatening to crack an egg over my head if she didn't give me $5. So I found a need in the market, and
Yep.
I capitalized.
Exploited the vegan neighbor.
Yeah, I think I bought like a bike from this poor lady's. Um, yeah, I threatened her too many times, and so if you're watching, Mrs. Jones, I'm sorry. And I love you. But anyway, so I just got into the sales thing. It's kind of that was the easy next step in my life, and we moved down to Austin, Texas, and I was mowing a few lawns on the side for some beer money
Mm.
in my life, and uh, gave my life to
That's
Christ.
always how it starts. A little mowing on the side for some beer money, and the next thing you know, you're $1 million owner.
Honestly, yeah. And so um, God grabbed me hard in
Mm.
2020, and He was like, you're done running, like
Hmm.
you're mine now."
Were you
And
religious growing up? Like, were you raised in a faith based household? Is that?
yeah, we went to church more times in a month than we didn't. And I would
Hmm.
have told you my first 27 years of my life that I was a Christian. But knowing what I know now, I was spiritually dead. I was
Hmm.
very lukewarm. I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Kind of
But God
in
grabbed
name only. You were there, but not
me. Yeah,
in
exactly. I
reality.
would say I believed, but there was no fruit, and my actions drastically told you a different story.
Hmm.
Um, but God grabbed me, and in Easter of 2021, I gave my life to Christ at that time. And the very next day, on that Monday, this person came up to me and she said, "You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I hear from God." And I was like, "You are crazy." Yeah. 100%. And she said, "He wants me to tell you whatever you are doing that is making you the least amount of money, do that full time." And what I didn't realize about myself was money was a very serious idol in my life because I was homeless. Now I don't have the security of a paycheck and benefits from the
Yeah.
military. I
And
was
if
very
you're any
scared.
good at sales, you're going to make some money.
Yeah. So I was very scared to go back
Hmm.
to being homeless. I was married at this time, and I didn't want that. And so that was a very scary moment in my life because I went from making almost six figures in sales um, to potentially giving that up and making $300 a month. And that was very scary. But I prayed over a few days. It was confirmed, and I went full time. And that was spring of 2021. Fast forward to today, we have $1 million company, 3 locations, and I'm the least important person in that business by design. And
Brilliant.
it just goes to God gets the glory because I didn't
Well,
know why I
well,
was
there's an
homeless.
old saying, right, that I've said a lot, which is that God loves the righteous but blesses the bold.
Mhm.
And I like having met enough entrepreneurs. And by the way, your move to go into the military and be courageous in that way, and then entrepreneurs over and over again have to make courageous decisions, and it's in the courage, it's in like that willingness to step into the fear. And that can be a lot of different things. It can be my fear of not of looking like I don't know what I'm doing as a business owner. It can be my fear of like actually facing the debt and numbers that I am avoiding. Whatever that scary thing is, guys, in your life, like if you're open to it, the opportunity is in the scary thing. The opportunity is in the fear. And it's a weird, I don't know if it's some truth of life. It's a little bit like growth and pain go together. And I'm like asking, like, why is that? Like, why can't we just grow without pain? But it seems like those two tend to go together. And I think there's something about like breakthroughs in our lives. Actually, I know why it is that there are breakthroughs in our lives that are connected to fear. And it's primarily because of the whole idea that we're a little bit like deer who wander to water, and if they don't die and wander back, they take which path will they take the next time? Same path over and over again until a rut or divot is created in the ground. And if we stay as the deer that's just afraid to do anything but what didn't kill us yesterday, if we optimize our lives um, for survival and not for growth or service or goodness, um, eventually we get stuck in a rut that's very hard to break out of.
Yeah.
And I talked to a lot of business owners who our last, podcast guest was like, "Hey man, I've been at this for a long time and I finally did something new. I finally made the change. I finally." And so talk about that for a minute. Talk about those moments for you as an owner of a business, and then an owner and making that choice that you made to get into mowing in the first place. It's like, go do the thing that makes you the least amount of money. That's a great little revelation from your weird cat lady neighbor. And
Yeah.
um, so like, but talk about those decisions. Have there been other ones where you went, this is really scary, but I'm going to do it, like a first hire or a,
Yeah. Yeah. And the way I look at that, Dan, is every single ceiling, every single man-made building, there's always room above the ceiling,
hmm,
like on every single building on this planet. And so whenever you come up to a point where you're like, this is my max, there's always the next level. And who knows what kind of journey you have if you can break through that ceiling. But there was a few times in troops mowing where I'm like, what do we do here? But there's no no other route other than pushing through it and going forward. And I remember it was spring of 22. We were like hammering marketing, and we fully committed to like, hey, this is going to be more than like a solo plus one business. Like,
Mm.
we're going to do it. And we hammered marketing, and we had all the customers we could have wanted. And we had to hire another person. So it was me and my brother-in-law at this point,
Hmm.
and we wanted to hire one more. And when you're hiring your first employee that is not family, like you have to go out and hunt for your first employee, you don't really know how to do it,
Yeah.
right? Like, you don't have any reps, you don't have any swings at bat. And so getting one person to even come into an interview is a huge win. And when that person says yeah, and they don't show up to the job, you're like, I am screwed. Because it took everything I had to get that one person to say yes to me. And so that happened to us. Like, he didn't show up on the first day, and we had so much work on our schedule
Were
that
you
day.
like, were you shocked? You're like, wait, what? People don't show up for work? This is a thing?
Kind of, yeah. I was like,
And
because
all the lawn care guys listening are like, yep, had that happen, had that happen. Yep.
100%. I think it would be impossible to not have this experience as you grow your market.
It's like there are two kinds of
Um,
people, those who have and those who will.
that's right. But I remember sitting talking with my brother-in-law, and I was like, well, we can make really good money, you and I. We'll just bust our tails 9 months out of the year, take the winters off. Like, it's just going to be our life. That's not a bad life. And I just remember being like, no, like, that's a ceiling. We have to push through that.
Yeah.
If we can't figure out hiring, it'll never be past you and me. Um,
I didn't know that this was going to be our theme today, but I like this theme a little bit because I remember I had two, a brother-in-law and his business partner were sitting in a car. They're right at the stage. They own a software company, so they're right at the stage where they're going to want to scale this thing up. They're going to want to grow it. And then they knew that the next step was to go raise venture capital. And in the software world, that's kind of how you do it. And they were like, ugh. And they were just agonizing over this decision. They're agonizing over it. And finally, one turned to the other and goes, dude, why are we so hesitant about this? And the other turns and says, because we're chicken. We're just scared.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they pushed through that wall. And whatever that thing they were scared of, they pushed through it and turned into a $200 million company and did really well.
Yeah.
And so that it's like these moments where, and the hard part, and the reason it's scary is because we don't know what the other side of the coin is going to be. We don't know. It's the famous Indiana Jones example, right? Where he's at the chasm and it's the step of faith into the chasm. It's painted as if it's this deep chasm and he has to like step out into the unknown. And I mean, it's like moment after moment after moment like that. And the military forces you to do it. And then as entrepreneurs, we have to choose to.
Yeah. 100%.
In the military, it's like you will or else. Right?
Yeah. And maybe that's why I thrived in the military, was like, there is no choice. I can take my personal opinions and flush it down the drain because there's no room for like, you are not a person in the military. You are an asset. You're a government asset. And government assets don't have opinions. And so that almost like gave me freedom. So it's like, if I just shut up and execute, good things happen.
Yeah. It reminds me of a buddy who said that he said commitment is eliminating options.
Yes.
And I love that idea. So similar, like the story of the military reminded me of that, where it's like, man, if we want to get committed to something, what we're essentially doing is we're eliminating options. So if I'm committed to my diet, I'm eliminating all of these things that I can potentially eat. Like right now, I'm on a really strict diet and I don't eat sugar, and it's just not an option. I just eliminated that option.
Yeah.
And as a result, like that's what kind of being committed looks like, is like we just don't give ourselves the choice to do something other than, push through. Yeah. All right. I love it. I love it. This is such a good story. And it is such a, so this is the weird thing. So, if I'll just be honest with our listeners here. That's like, when Sam showed up and we got to know him a little bit, we're like, why in the heck would you want to work for us? Why, like, you're like you're like a talented guy. You have a really successful company. It's going to turn into something really great. You're a smart, capable CEO. You're the 2017 Missile Defender Winner of the Year, whatever that title was. So for those who are wondering the same, like, why would you want to come work for these guys? Tell us a little bit about the desire to be a coach and the desire to like participate in all of this.
Yeah. When I first started my lawn care company, I had nothing but time on mowers, and I was addicted to content and not listening to music and just addicted to content.
P.S. If you're listening to this, you probably already are that. But
Yes.
if you just stumbled on this thing and you're hearing this for the first time, almost every leader, like, it seems like a really, really common theme that those who kind of make it to the $1 million mark, make it to the $2 million mark, have a moment where they just get settled into content. I had one guy who was on a mower. He's like, that's where he found God. He was like, I just listened to sermons for like 8 hours a day.
Yes.
and he's like, it was great. And I turned my life around, and then I learned how to be a great leader out of all of that. And so that's a great little nugget. So keep going. Sorry, I interrupted. So you're listening to content, listening to content.
And that one thing helped me go from 0 to where we're at now in the 4 to 5 years. I didn't have a paid mentor, but I had a bunch of free content. And without that free content, I would still be on the journey to where my business is currently at.
Sure.
And I heard this saying, I think it was from Dan Martell, where coaching, mentorship, it turns decades into days. And I love that concept because it is so true. And throughout this journey, I've had the opportunity of people reaching out to me and asking, how I've done it. And there's this weird passion. I'll call it a weird passion. It's like almost an obsession of I get to see me in other people, and I'm almost like helping out the younger version of myself. Like, I wish I had somebody like me when I was younger. And now I'm obsessed with this idea of making a generational impact on other people. And a lot of the times our business is our vessel to better relationships, right? Because money doesn't buy happiness, but it gives you the freedom to make the other choices in your life. And I'm obsessed with that idea.
Money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys freedom, doesn't it?
Yes, it does buy freedom. Yeah. So now you get to go spend more time at your kids' games. You get to go dedicate more time to your church and helping out your community. Money is a tool, and tools can be used in many different ways. And it's not for me to tell you how to use your money, but I'm obsessed with the idea of giving you the freedom to make those choices.
Yeah.
And the reason why I moved over I had my own coaching group, and now I want to be with the greats, which is why I'm with Lawn Care CEO.
Oh, you're a sweetheart.
And Dan also, I do get extra bonuses if I drop nuggets like that in.
Yeah, so it's like we clip that out and I send it to my wife and say, see, I am cool. This is great.
Yeah. I have 2 more quotas today to hit my monthly goal. Blue's your color, Dan. One more quote. One more.
Yeah, there you
go. But no, I want to make an impact externally and internally to an organization, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So let's just say that the nickname has been floated of calling you the lawn care Rain Man, and there's a little truth to that, because. And the reason we say that is just you love the studying and thinking about and analyzing and sorting out the intricate details of what it means to be a great lawn care business owner. Like you showed me the other day a tool that you use inside your business where it was like an algorithmic approach to marketing, where it was like, hey, if this, then this, yes or no, and then you move on to the next stage. And if it's yes, then you go do these actions. And I mean, it's a very like structured, and again, probably the best word is algorithmic, which means it just like follows a pattern way of thinking about things. So talk a little bit about your approach as a CEO, as a leader that makes you the Rain Man of lawn care. Talk a little bit about that approach that kind of gets you into that space.
Yeah, that's a good question. The way I think through it is I have good days and I have bad days. And if I can create systems, automations, processes, whatever, they only have good days. Like
Mm.
I can take external aspects out of it and a business can still operate whether I'm on or not. And there's I think where that came from was I've had bad days. In the early stages of my business where it's like, I'm sure we've all been there. It's like, I'm not taking calls today. I don't want to talk to a customer today. I don't want to do that. And I
Yeah.
realized, I don't know if it was an epiphany, but I was like, if I can take my weaknesses out of it, the business is good. Because when I'm good, the business is good. But when I'm bad, business is bad. So how
Yeah.
can I make good Sam an automation and a workflow? Um, because a lot of time, like we have entrepreneurial ADD, most people listening to this podcast.
Yes.
And so if I can just make a if this, then this, I take emotions out of it and I just follow a script. And a system just gets you repeatable results if you follow steps. Um, and that's kind of my approach to the stage of business that we're in now is at the beginning stages, it's just go sweat and go make money.
Yep.
Do the hard thing. But now it's more strategic.
Yeah, for sure. The Good Sam Automation brand would be that's a good brand name. I'm putting a pin on that. Let's go to GoDaddy and get that URL. Good Sam Automations.
Yeah, nobody beat to it. Let me get that.
Yeah, but there, and that I just that whole thought for you to say, how do I take my weaknesses out of this, is like a actually kind of a genius thought, which is one, it creates there's enough self-awareness in that to say, I got weaknesses, I get it, and not feeling a way about that and just being like unemotional about it and just saying, I got weaknesses. And so how do I either manage around them, or how do I either with team or system, how do I build a structure around me that kind of neutralizes any of my weaknesses and then maximizes or emphasizes my strengths?
Yeah.
And I watched one of the CEOs that we coach do this, who is just a genius, really, really, really talented salesperson, and then built structure around himself. Like he had a cousin who was a really great kind of CEO type, and he got him going, and then he built automate like structures and like the ability to kind of neutralize any weakness is probably it's not the secret, but it's one of the key secrets, right, to actually making it to the next tier of leadership, the next tier of revenue, the next tier of whatever.
Yeah. If you run your business off of ego and you think you're the only person that can do the thing, you're not going to have much to show at the end of the day.
Yep.
You're not going to have a good culture. You're not going to have a sellable asset.
And in some ways, it's like the desire. It anchors back into the fear because it's a desire for control. It's a desire for me to be able to control the thing and to do it my way and make sure it gets done in this method. And I know that if I touch it, I can control it.
Yeah.
And I had one business leader suggest, and I can't remember his name now, that you can either have control or you can have free growth, but you can't have both. Like you can either be in control of every aspect of the business or you can grow. And it's those that are willing to let go of some control, not all control, but some control to either people or systems, and let those things start operating independent. I've always thought of it, honestly, Sam, is like, as I've watched my children grow, there's like a evolution of parenting where it's like early on when they're 3 months old, you have a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old, I think.
Yeah.
And when they're 3 months old, you're in control of the whole thing. Like they have zero control over their lives. When they eat, when they sleep, when all they can do is scream. It's like that's the only choice they have, and they use it way too often.
Oh, tiny
And then
terrorists.
and then by the time you get to 18, my goal is to be completely let go. Like it's all up to you now. My daughter just went to college, and I remember the moment where it's like she's like, I need new tires for my car, and I was like, interesting. How are you going to pay for them? Right? Like it's like, all right, we go from zero control to total freedom, and it is a process. It's an evolution, and but the parents that get in trouble, the parents that kind of stifle growth and health, are those parents that try to control it at 18 or try to control it at 14, the same way they did at 3 months. And
Yeah.
I think our businesses are very much the same way, where it's like if we try to grab too much control, and we could talk about this for a long time, like that's a delicate balance of like figuring out how much to let go and how much to hang on to, and negotiating that as you scale up from one stage to the next. But
Yeah.
it does require you to let go. And the best business owners, and this is now me giving you your what do the kids call it nowadays? Your props? No, your drip. What? Anyway, but me giving you your compliment is just to say the best business owners are the business owners that that are able to let go. This is why Aaron, my partner, I think is a great business owner. Evidence of great business ownership is he can basically totally let go and run a different company, and it's still operating and doing well. And same for you. You're like, I'm the least important person in my company because I let go
Yeah.
fully.
And that's a beautiful, like one of your strengths is you're the king of analogies. I'm lawn care rain man. You're the king of analogy.
I'm like the
It's
Sherpa on the top of the hill that's like,
just speaks in parables. You're like,
yeah, exactly. Nobody knows what
um,
I'm saying.
no, it's a beautiful analogy because the kids that are going to thrive, the adults that thrive, they had parents that first built the foundation. They gave them single sources of truth. They built morals, values, etc. Um, but then they let them learn, and they let them, figure stuff out for themselves. But you're still always there to catch them if they fall and have a shoulder to
Mm-hmm.
cry on.
Sure.
It's really a beautiful analogy. Where if
Yep.
you controlled your kid until they're 80, like you're not going to have a good relationship with your kid most likely. But two, it's like you're not going to get any freedom as a parent because you always have a kid in your house, right? So it's
For sure. And I had my wife keeps reminding me that as when I have now that I have adult children, that my job is no longer to be in control, which is very hard sometimes.
yeah,
Um, but my job is to be a cheerleader, is what she keeps saying. Your job is to be a cheerleader. Your job is to cheer them on and just rally around them and periodically offer some financial support if they're failing, right? And that's so true in our businesses as we grow up. It's like I got to let go enough to where I can now be a cheerleader. And I've had a couple of CEOs that we've helped make that transition. So they've gone from employee in their business to shareholder in their business, which is a very cool moment.
yeah,
And I keep reminding them, it's like at this point, you're general manager, you just got to more than anything be a cheerleader for them and just love on them and encourage them. And then if they're doing anything, and this is the analogy I gave them, I'm like, if they're doing anything that's going to hurt the business, just in the same way as a grandparent, if your kids had kids and they were hurting their grandkids, you would intervene. You would get in.
yes,
You'd get involved in it. You'd be right to do so. But
yes.
everything else, if they're healthy and happy and the numbers look good and the culture's fine, you just gotta let it go. And so that's kind of the same thing with our businesses as they evolve. All right, I love that topic, but I want to switch gears here just for a minute
Yep.
because I prepped you with this question and I want to make sure we get a chance to get your answer. Um, so I asked you to prep in all of your years as the 2017 Missile Defender of the Year, uh, in your commendation medals. I'm trying to see if I can see any other like good. You listed them on the Good Conduct Medal by the U.S. Army.
That's a
Um,
given. Just yeah,
I don't know anything about these, but they're fun to say out loud. So in all your years, moral of the story is what would be your kind of top bits of advice for CEOs? And by the way, I know that a lot of you don't identify more as like a business owner or whatever. we call you CEOs because we're trying to teach you the principle that, hey, listen, you need to start taking care of the bottom line for the shareholders in this business. You need to start taking care of and start building structures and systems. You need to start setting the vision, building the team, and making sure the finances are in order. So we're calling you CEOs, whether or not you identify with that. So what advice would you have for these business owners, CEOs? What would be your top four bits of advice, maybe?
Yeah. First, I would say, in no particular order, but first, I would say know your numbers. Um, if you are
Preach.
driving down a if you're driving down a road and you don't have a speedometer or any information in front of you, are you getting pulled over? Who knows? Like, who knows? So know your numbers. It's going to be I don't want to say the bloodline of your business, but
Yeah, the
don't
finances
have
are the
blinders.
pulse of your business, right? It's like if we have financial health, everything else we can figure out over time. But if you don't have financial health, we call that a critical patient in our business when we're coaching. We're like, they're critical. They're at risk of losing their business. Because the
Yeah,
only way business really dies is they run out of money.
correct. Yeah, yeah. And I remember hearing that piece of advice when I was on my mower with my headphones in. Know your numbers. I'm like, what numbers? What does it even mean? But I think don't think you have to know like 20 KPIs. Just have like what I call it the core four. Like have a North Star at a minimum. And for us, it's cost of goods sold, labor efficiency, churn, and we also have available budget hour capacity percentage. And those are like I can get through
Mm.
most things if I know those four numbers. And so pick your four that's important to you.
Yep.
If you're a lawn care company underneath, let's call it 500,000, that's probably going to be your top four, more than likely. Second piece of advice would be have a purpose that is beyond profit. And the
Mm.
reason I say that is because if you're money motivated, like me, to a large extent, is at the beginning stages. If you have one customer and you get another customer, you just double your business.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get to a point where the top line, bottom line, you hit that goal, and it's like, now what? And I've seen a lot of business owners get in trouble at that stage because they either do things to hurt the business unintentionally or they just like don't care because the goal has been accomplished.
Yeah.
And so have a reason that you show up each and every morning that's not monetary related, would
And
be
what's
another
what's
piece.
ironic about the purpose, which we've talked about it, we totally agree with, is as soon as you disconnect business from the finances, like you disconnect your purpose from the finance, from making money. One, I think you show up as a more powerful leader to everyone in your business if you have more than one employee. If you're showing up to the business and it's all about make me money, make me money, make me money, it's just not that inspiring. Nobody wants to like work hard to buy you a boat.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It's like nobody's interested in that. But I do think if you show up with a much larger purpose, I think it works in benefit of your psychology because when the numbers are down, it's like I'm still motivated. Like when business is bad, I can still be motivated because I have a purpose and a cause. And then I think for everyone else in the organization, um, it's like, hey, we're about a purpose. Like, and
Yeah.
and to be fair, because you're on the call, it's like we don't get guys like Sam Gustin, 2017 Missile Defender of the Year, to walk in to our business and want to be a part of our business without a purpose, without us doing this for
Yeah.
something much bigger than revenue, right? Because, like, the most violent, terrible wars in the history of the world have been religious wars. Well, why? Because religion, in this case, poorly executed religion, but people would take advantage of that religious fervor. That's where they're buying into this much, much bigger thing, and they're willing to give their lives for that thing. And I'm not
Right.
saying that we're anything close to like needing religious fervor for our business, but it's like cause impacts effort and discretionary effort and care and all of those things. And without that, you just don't get the same result.
Yeah. And for me, purpose is, it's not what you do or what you get from what you do. It's like at its core, why do you do, like, why are you showing up? And to me, it's like, it lives beyond you. Like the purpose can be eternal for your organization. Like other people can also buy into your purpose. For our company, I think I mentioned it earlier, it's to ignite potential. And the reason that I like that purpose is because it can mean one thing to me. It can mean something else to somebody else in our organization.
Sure.
They can make their own meaning to it. But if we all are in some facet igniting potential internally or externally, that's a company that I want to show up to.
And you're igniting potential in that yard. You're igniting potential for that family. You're igniting potential, and that's a great way to it's a good purpose statement because it means a lot to a lot, and it can drive you, and it's going to endure for 100 years. Like your great grandkids are going to be working for Troops Mowing, and be like, hey, we ignite potential.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I love that. Third piece of advice would be build to exit. Doesn't mean that you have to exit. Doesn't mean you have to sell your company. But if you build your company that has enterprise value, that means you have a good company.
Yeah.
You can sit there for generations and generations and have your kids collect distributable cash. But you have to build it in a way that's set up for a profitable exit, whether you want to or not. What do you think about that, Dan?
Yeah. I mean, to me, like I've had a couple of moments where as I'm coaching, people I call it play small ball. Like they want to be like, well, we can get away with spending less on a CRM if we jigger the gerometer. And it's like, don't play small ball. Like build your business really sound, really healthy. Like keep your personal finances out of it. Like keep it clean, make sure your books are tidy, like build, if we're going to build business, let's build like a legit one. And yes. So often like we find people just trying to like cheat the system in one form or another. And it's like, well, I can save $100 if I pick up the stuff at Home Depot myself and I don't have it delivered. And it's like, don't play small ball. Like build a legit business that can afford the things it needs to afford. And I'm not saying be like spendy. I still think you should be thrifty as a business, but there's some cost of doing business. And we want to build the pricing model, and we want to build the structure of the business. We want to build the systems and automation to where they're going to be able to last and endure. And too often I see businesses that are playing kind of small ball, and they're thinking very short term, not long term, where it's just duct tape and baling wire, and they've just got it all barely hopping along together. And they're like, I can't rent my truck. It costs too much. I'm like, well, like what people are buying when they buy your business in part is your brand. And if you don't have a great brand that stands out in the community, like you're not going to have a business that's ready to sell. And what's so cool is when you do that, when you build a business, this is Aaron's repeats this saying from the book Built to Sell. It's like, you want to build a business so valuable you could sell it, but so valuable you wouldn't want to. So well run you wouldn't want to, right?
Right. Yeah. And how it kind of feeds into that is, I think Hormozy said it, but if you're not willing to do something for the rest of your life, don't do it for a day. And that was part of my decision coming over here to Lawn Care CEO, is I had to sit down and like ask myself, would I be willing to do this role for the rest of my life? And the reason I'm here is because that answer is yes. If I was just going to be a quick win for me, it would be one, it'd probably burn a bridge to Dan, Aaron, and Miranda. But two, it's like, it's not worth my time, because if you chase quick wins, you're just going to experience quick losses. And so you need to like build that foundation, and in this essence, build a company that can be a sellable asset. And last piece of advice I have is culture is king. People. I think if you build the people will build your business. And you have to have a place that somebody wants to show up to. For Lawn Care, I tell my guys all the time, like, culture at Troops Mowing is the secret sauce to our business. Without question. Because I tell our guys, it's like, mowing lawns at 110 degrees in Central Texas. Not the funnest thing to do, believe it or not. Oh,
There's a
but
company
show
in Phoenix, by the way, you can pick this up, like who's has a core value. It's called embrace the suck. We
braces,
embrace
yeah,
the suck. I
100%,
love
yeah.
it. So
Yeah, it's
it's
not the
hard.
funnest thing to do. There's been a few days I've been out there, I'm just like, I'm quitting.
Mm,
But if you enjoy the people that you do it with and
mm,
count on you, you count on them. That's a culture that you want to be a part of. Because we pay our people well, pay for performance. We have an amazing culture. It would be really, really hard for somebody to want to leave our business and go to a competitor. I would say almost
mhm.
impossible. We would never have somebody leave our business and go to a competitor. Why? Because we pay them what they deserve and we give them a place that they want to work at. And you can't compete with that.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I could talk about this for a very long time. It's sort of back to the purpose concept, right? Which is like let's create something that people that within the organization are proud of, they're willing to fight for, they're willing to that they take pride in. And when those emotions exist, we get the most out of our human potential within our organization. And it sounds so. Again, I know that you know this better than me, better than I do. When you're that one guy on a mower and you're listening to somebody say culture is king, you're like, what culture? Like
Yeah.
there isn't a culture. And
Yes.
those I think I've watched a couple who've now been growing their businesses, and we've gotten to know them, and they're applying these principles from day one when they started their lawn care business, or very early when they started their lawn care business. And what happens is that they just grow way faster. One, because that first guy they attract is a great guy and they can speak powerfully, and there's all this belief that gets pumped into the business. And that belief turns into like productivity and people doing unreasonable acts that are heroic and pretty awesome. And anyway, and so I totally agree culture is king.
Yeah.
And the funny part about it, it's a little bit like this is why it's so hard to do and why private equity gets it so wrong is that culture can't be faked.
Correct. 100%.
It can't be a strategic move. It can't
Yeah.
be so that we make money.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it literally has to be a genuine desire to build something to take care of people. And when that happens, it's amazing and it's beneficial to all the things I just mentioned. It makes you more money. It creates great energy and work ethic. It has people putting in discretionary time and effort. But the ironic part, the thing that keeps it hidden from the evil guys, is that you can't fake it. It's like being like having a loving relationship with a spouse. It's like I can't be like, man, I get a lot of benefits having the spouse around. I better keep pretending to love her so that she will love me back. It's like that doesn't work. You have to genuinely mean it. You have to be sincere, and when you do, it brings all of this great benefit in return. But it's hidden behind authenticity.
Correct. Culture can't be faked, which one of my undisclosed pet peeves
Mm.
is when I see companies try to craft their core values, and if they take it very nonchalant, or if they like use Chat GPT to be like, "What are my core values?" Um, it's a little pet peeve of mine because it undervalues the importance of the culture. Like culture is it's who we are. It's who we are, not what we
Mm.
do.
Mm.
Um, And my advice for people at like the very beginning stages, like if you're listening to this and you're you plus one in a truck, and to Dan's point, like what culture? Like, what do you mean culture? At the very core, I would say just like identify characteristic traits that you want people to have that you're going to be in a truck with for 10 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who do you want to be next to 10 hours a day? Start there. And then once you kind of grow your business, we can refine those more and more. But it's you said it perfect, Danny. It can't be faked, and it's so true.
Yeah, and the other half of like the way that I often will get at it in our meetings when we were, coaching people through this process, I'll literally go, when we're like, look at the people in the room, you and the guy in the truck, and you say, when we're at our best, who are we?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when good Sam is here, when good Sam
That's
is
true.
here, who's good Sam? And you'll start to list out characteristics and attributes. It's almost easier to see in someone else than it is to see in yourself sometimes. And usually it's in, especially the founding group, it's usually in those characteristics and attributes that, you go, that's who we are. Like I loved, like, for example, like we had a one group we were doing this with, and I said, we went through this process, and one of the core values that came out was we were funny. It
Yeah.
was one of the core values.
I like that.
And I said, well, with core values, we hire to the values and fire to the values. Would you fire someone if they weren't funny?
Mhm.
Do they have to be funny? Like, is that a requirement for working here? Because we're going to be really strict about who we let in. And they go,
Sure. Yeah.
well, no, you don't have to be funny. And so the core value became, we are easygoing, and then in parentheses, funny is a plus.
Perfect.
Which I loved. And so it's like defining who you are and the people you're going to be committed to bringing and attracting to your organization. And really at the heart of, culture is those core values and the type of people you bring in. And when done right, it makes business real easy. And when done wrong, it makes business real hard.
So true.
So that's great advice.
So true. Yeah.
Sam, like, this is a joy. We're probably going to have you back on the podcast a few times,
I love that. Yeah.
because we're at an hour and I feel like we're just getting started. Here's the good news, you guys. So I'll do a little shameless plug. I'm not ashamed of it. Hence the name Shameless Plug. If you're interested in coaching with Sam, he's brand new, so he's got some time on his calendar. Go to our website. There's a place where you can click on. You can get talk to a coach or do a discovery call, and let us know, and let Sam get to know your business, and like, just dig in. One of the things we always do, right? We're kind of like the law firm that only takes clients we can win. We want to evaluate your business and make sure we can be helpful to you as much as you probably want to evaluate us and find out if we can be helpful to you as well. So if you're interested in that, reach out, lawncareceo.com. There's probably 10 different ways for you to reach out to us and let us know. Or you can just email info@lawncareceo.com and say, hey, I want to talk to Sam. Can I talk to the 2017 Missile Defender of the Year?
I wanted that one down.
That is, I'm telling you, it's the coolest thing I've ever heard anyone have on their LinkedIn profile by far. So moral of the story is, we are super grateful to have Sam on board. He is as genuine as he's come across in this interview, and as smart as being kind of the lawn care Rain Man. So we're super excited to have this guy on board. By the way, Sam, this is a tradition we should start in our company, and we can't because it's an Air Force thing. But I love call signs.
Yeah. I like it.
And so I think your call sign would be Rain Man. I think it'd be Rain Man. I'd be like, hey, Rain Man. And that would be your call sign if we were coming up with an Air Force call sign.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing is you can't create your own call sign.
No.
Given.
Has to be given. Like I coached, this is a total aside. You guys can all hang up, but we had a client. I had a client that I coached that taught in-flight recovery. So it was training like American Airlines pilots what to do if the plane started spinning out of control, and they literally take people up and they fly them around and turn the plane upside down, and they just go, all right, what do you do? And they'd have to practice recovery. So it was full of Air Force pilots, right? It was full of Air Force pilots. So it was like Otter and Goose and all these names, right?
Yeah.
And but they were teaching me about this kind of call sign thing. And maybe just a little tie back to our conversation about culture. It's like, how good is that culture?
That's so cool.
Like, it's a very clearly defined culture of, hey, and usually, by the way, they said it's usually when you mess up or you do something embarrassing. Like there was one guy whose call sign was BJ, and I didn't even want to ask why it was.
I'll just
And
take your word for it.
yeah, I was like, Otter, tell me your story. Why are you named Otter?
He's like, no, let me tell mine. You're like,
Not so fast. Like, I'm not interested.
okay.
But moral of the story is like, so if you're interested in talking to Rain Man over here, like please reach out. And he's going to be a great coach. His book of business is going to get filled up real quick. And, so this is your chance. If you're listening to this in 2026, it's probably too late. So tough luck. All right, everybody. Parting shot, Rain Man.
I'll say what I told Dan is my coaching style is grace and grit. So I have grace for the human, but I'm going to get gritty for your success. And that's my promise to you. So I hope I get to fill up my schedule with anybody that's listening.
Yeah, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Lawn Care CEO podcast and being part of our tens of listeners. We're I just feel just overwhelming gratitude to be in the seat that I'm in. And so thanks for making me a happy man. As always, go do more good.